In 1982, 69-year-old Marvin Brandland was getting ready for bed after a night of giving out Halloween candy with his wife, Ethel, when there was one more knock at his door. Brandland opened the door to find someone wearing a pillowcase on their head, with the holes cut out for eyes. The figure said, "Trick or treat. Give me your money or I'll shoot." He then pulled out a gun and ordered Brandland into his basement, where Brandland kept a safe. Brandland, figuring this was a prank since only family members knew about the safe, grabbed for the gun. The person in the pillowcase fired, hitting Brandland in the throat, killing him. The killer fled, leaving the pillowcase at the scene. But they did get a description of the killer from Marvin Brandland's wife, Ethel Brandland. Reportedly told police the shooter had blondish hair and blue eyes, was about 5 feet 8 inches tall, and between 16 and 20 years old. But still, this was not enough to make an arrest. In 2010, the same pillowcase was tested for DNA, but there was not enough DNA on it to make a match. They never found the identity of the killer. In 1997, 16-year-old Japanese exchange student Yoshihiro Hattori dressed up as John Travolta's character from Saturday Night Fever, then headed out to a Halloween party in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Tragically, he was mistakenly dropped off at the wrong house, and the homeowner, panicked by this unexpected visitor, shot and killed Hattori. The homeowner was later acquitted of any wrongdoing. Hattori's mother, Miheko, commented on the 20th anniversary of her son's death. "I've been observing American society for the past 20 years. The ongoing situation there has been incomprehensible to Japanese. I want to encourage more ways to adopt gun control." On Halloween in 1984, 8-year-old Brian Massey should have been enjoying a night of trick-or-treating with his sisters, Tiffany 11 and Tamara 10. Instead, he was subjected to a real-life horror film when his new stepfather, 26-year-old David Andrews, stabbed his mother to death before chasing his sisters down the hall and murdering them as well. Andrews then came into Massey's room, covered in blood, and kidnapped the boy. 2 days later, police found Massey alive after apprehending Andrews, who had tried and failed to kill himself. Disturbingly, Andrews stuck a plea deal in exchange for eradication of charges. He is eligible to be paroled next month, which the now 41-year-old Massey vehemently opposes. On Halloween 2010, a killer would strike the family that lived at 7052 North Ohio 2 in Sandusky, Ohio. 16-year-old Devin had returned from Sunday morning church service to find the house quiet. He went upstairs to his room and started playing video games. It wouldn't be until about 1:30 that afternoon that he noticed just how quiet his house was. He went downstairs and looked for his mother, Suzanne Liskey. He found her and his stepfather, Bill Liskey, in their master bedroom, still in bed, with the maroon-colored comforter pulled up high over both of their heads. He started talking to his mother As he walked around the bed to her side, he tapped her leg hanging out of the cover, then pulled the comforter down a little to try and wake her up. But that's when he saw the blood-stained pillowcase. The first thing he thought was they were pulling a Halloween prank on him, but eventually he realized it was not a prank. It didn't get any better from there. After finding his brother, Derek Griffin, 23, dead in his bedroom, Devin called his aunt, Lori, who called 911. A neighbor told investigators that she'd heard banging, which may have been gunshots, around 6 a.m. on Sunday. Investigators carefully searched the Liskey home and property. On a dock near a pond on the sprawling spread, they found a muddy footprint. Police believed that the killer may have walked to the end of the dock and tossed the murder weapons into the water. The pond was drained, but no weapons were found. Who would slaughter 3 family members? Someone who knew the Liskeys? A stranger? Cult members? Stirred up by Halloween? Police began their questioning with Devin. He said he had come home after being at his dad's, ran in, got his chore gear, and headed to the concert. He returned home and eventually found the bodies. He was ultimately cleared as a suspect. Devin said BJ was in the driveway at his house when he arrived, there before the church concert. He told BJ, who appeared to be loading something into his dad's white truck, he'd be back shortly. Police concentrated their efforts on locating BJ, whose relationship with his stepmom, Suzanne, was alarmingly strained. Witnesses told officials that there was long simmering tension between the two ever since she married his father. Over time, the arguments turned physical. BJ and Suzanne had had some altercations, according to detectives. She was accosted by him on several occasions. They did not get along whatsoever. BJ was described as a troubled person who was dealing with some obvious mental illness, according to Homicide for the Holidays. He had a history of turning combative and violent, and drinking alcohol could exacerbate these behaviors. Things had gotten so out of hand that BJ wasn't allowed to live in his father's house. Police tracked down BJ at a family hunting cabin in Carroll Country. The cabin and surrounding property were searched for possible murder weapons. Investigators searching the Liskey home soon found a bloody hammer in a closet. BJ Liskey was charged with murder. Evidence confirmed that DNA from BJ's father, stepmother, and stepbrother were on his clothing. In a jailhouse phone conversation with BJ, his mother asked him about the crime. She said, "BJ, how could you?" And he goes, "I wasn't in my right mind." Then all of a sudden he goes, "Mom, I can't talk about this anymore," said Det George Byington of Ottawa Country Sheriff's Office. After that last phone call with his mother, BJ changed his plea to guilty. BJ Liskey received 3 life sentences without parole. In 2015, over 4 years since the murders that happened on Halloween 2010, BJ Liskey died by suicide while behind bars.